Good morning, everyone. This is Jim McDaniel, the Marketing and Technology Director with URL, and I want to welcome you to our May 1st COVID-19 Insurance and Marketing Update. As you know, in Pennsylvania, insurance is an essential life-sustaining business, and we will continue to hold these weekly webinars to update you on industry news and share marketing and sales concepts that you can use starting today. We're also here to field any questions you may have. I'll flip over to our website here real quick and just give you some resources. From the homepage of our site, you can click up here in the top right, which will take you to our insurance COVID news page. And there's a variety of resources here. If you have any questions you'd like to send to us, you can send them over through this form over here on the right, and we'll answer you directly, and we may include your question on our Friday webinar. Any of the newsletters we put out, the resources for those are all on this page as well. They're linked to from here. Any webinars we've done on sales toolkits or news updates pertaining to agents out in the field or employees, links to all those different things are here. If you keep scrolling down, a variety of different resources, as well as further down, you'll see all our archived webinars. So as we've been doing, I think 5 or 6 of these so far, you can go back and review those. So that's a good resource. Flip back over to our presentation here. So on the call with us today from Health Plan Options, we've got Deb and Thomas. On the Life Markets team, we've got Matt and Joey, and rounding it out is Karen McDaniel from Medicare Offerings. So I'll be controlling the slides here today. So I'd mentioned the news thing. Also, you'll notice on the control panel for GoToWebinar here on the side, there's a resource. We just have one resource you can download this week. It's Disability Insurance Awareness Month, and Joey Fry is going to be talking about that. And at the end of the webinar, there will also be a form that will come up after we exit out. That'll basically just an open-ended question and answer form that you can submit information over to us, and we'll reply to you directly, as I mentioned, or we will read it aloud on the webinar next Friday. So up first, we've got Health Plan Options.
Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Thomas Purcell from Health Plan Options. Happy Friday and happy first day of May. A couple legislative updates for you. A $310 billion package in additional funding for the small businesses for the Payment Protection Program, which I had been outlining last week that it was going to be presented to President Trump and he would sign off on it. He did sign off on it, so applications have already begun being accepted as of Monday the 27th. So that additional funding for the PPP program is good news for small businesses that missed out on the first round of funding. The Pennsylvania Insurance Department, or the PID, has extended the time limit for CE credits and agents or brokers license renewals. Although they're encouraging online courses for CEs, they understand that some agents and brokers, depending on where they're located, might not meet the deadlines due to COVID-19. So good news for agents and brokers out there that are worried about their license expiring or not being able to obtain CE credits before that happens. Next slide, please. So the Employee Benefits Security Administration has worked with the IRS and the Department of Health and Human Services to provide members additional time to respond to common benefit notices from employers or carriers that are going to require action. If you could send the next slide, please. One of these is the COBRA benefit elections, which is a big one. This is, I can say right now, it looks like it's going to be messy. Essentially, the rules change the timeline for the COBRA election deadlines by adding an additional 60 days from the official end date of the COVID-19. So for example, if the official end date for the COVID-19 ended today, and an employee from an employer group that was eligible for COBRA effective 4/1, normally they'd have to elect by 6/1. But what this new rule is implying is that the employee would now have an extra 60 days after their normal deadline to make a COBRA election. So again, very messy. That's one small part of it. If we could go to the next slide, please. The Employee Benefits Administration, again, and the IRS they'll issue a final draft of these rule changes. Additional changes are also going to include HIPAA, PPACA, claims filing, when payments are going to need to be made. So a lot of news will be forthcoming with this. It's going to be messy, but remember, everyone here at URL, our Health Plan Options Department, is here to help you through that. A couple other notes before I hand it off to Deb Wilkinson. The PA Auditor General announced that he will launch an audit into how Pennsylvania has managed the waiver process for businesses that appealed Governor Wolf's COVID-19 shutdown order. They want to make sure that it was handled fairly, consistently, and without favoritism. So I applaud them for that. The governor is welcoming that audit, so I'll be interested to see what the results are. The list of business closures was more restrictive than even the federal guidelines. So it was interesting how they handled it, and it'll be interesting to see what this audit reveals. The last thing I was going to mention was that Governor Wolf is planning to announce which regions of PA will move out of red into the yellow phase. That's going to be effective May 8th. But as of today, May 1st, good news for some of the Pennsylvania economy. Golf courses, construction, and parks, among some others, are allowed to resume business today. So we'll see some more money going back into our economy, which is good news for everyone. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Deb Wilkinson. Thanks.
Thanks, Thomas. Happy Friday, everyone. Thanks so much for joining in our weekly webinars. Hopefully you're finding the information useful. We try to focus on resolving some of the questions that you're getting or issues that are coming up, trying to anticipate what might be coming down the pike, and also offering some sales ideas that may help you, look for new opportunities during this time. So many employees of businesses are losing hours, becoming ineligible for the health plan, or being laid off or even furloughed. Coverage options may seem daunting, as I put here, and they absolutely are. But it really does come down to a few items. The COVID-19 does not, in Pennsylvania, create a qualifying event in and of itself, but losing coverage does. So if an employee loses group health coverage, there are options. URL does have an FFM quoting engine. You cannot enroll from it, and I'll show you the screenshot of that on the next slide, but also short-term medical. If there is no qualifying event, they don't have coverage, they are concerned about having something in place other than being self-insured, short-term medical is also an option. We do have the IHC quoting tool on our website as well. IHC will last for 89 days. You can write a policy up to 89 days. United Health One has a 360-day policy. If you're not appointed with them or want to learn more about how to quote them, you can just give me a call or shoot me an email. During this time, COBRA continuation, I'm sorry, just one more point on the previous slide. During this time, COBRA continuation, if they do come off of group coverage, is an option, and it's most likely the best option for just an interim sort of loss of coverage. But of course, you can also direct them to healthcare.gov, and they can get enrolled on coverage with possibly a subsidy directly with healthcare.gov. Of note, just as a reminder, as of 1/1/21, we are going to a state-based exchange, no longer hooked into healthcare.gov. As I mentioned, this is our individual quoting portal. This quotes FFM, healthcare.gov business only. You can get quotes with zip code, date of birth, household size, income, and that is going to allow you to look at all of the plans available for your clients in their area, and also give you an estimated subsidy if they are subsidy eligible. So that's a good tool. You can find that on our website under Health Plan Options, under Quoting Tools, and then you'll see the FFM quoting tool link. You can go ahead to the next section. Thanks. So again, sales ideas, easy as 1, 2, 3. We talked about quoting group life. This is easy. It's an easy census. We can crank out these quotes. It's so inexpensive for an employer to offer this group life programs. And again, entice those employees to come back on the 7/1 date, which is, coordinates with the CARES Act and the Paycheck Protection Program. Also, we're offering virtual meetings with Dina McVicker, our Colonial Life rep, to discuss voluntary benefits beginning 7/1 of 2020. Disability insurance absolutely is on a lot of employees' minds right now. And then this is an opportunity as well with Cincinnati Insurance Company. For groups of 15 plus, you can offer life insurance. It's a payroll deduction, 100% portable, high compensation if you're an agent that is interested in this. Again, this is handled through Joey Fry and our Life Markets team, but I mention it because it starts with an employer. So if you are looking or meeting with employers of 15 or more, it's a good option, a good discussion, and a good source of revenue as well. Okay, next slide, please. And this is just a reminder about Dina McVicker and the virtual meeting site appointment. They're being set for Thursday, May 14th. You can get the link either in my newsletter, which comes out every Thursday. It was just in the newsletter yesterday, or you can go to our current events, our upcoming events on our website, or shoot me an email, and I'm happy to send you the link as well. So that's all of our presentation for today. We're going to hand it over to Matt, Alina, and Joey Fry from the Life Markets team. Matt is our final expense manager, and Joey Fry is our agent support specialist. So thanks so much, guys, and take it away.
Thanks, Deb. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Steve Clemens and the rest of the Life Markets team, hope everyone is faring well during the COVID-19 pandemic. It seems like, according to what Thomas was mentioning, we are starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel where we can actually get out into the world and see what the sunlight is all about and fresh air and everything else. So on the Life Market side, if we can go to the next, please, a couple of things to point out is we do have a Paramed update. This stuff came out just a couple of days ago. Apps and Portamedic and Exam 1 are operating almost everywhere, including Pennsylvania, where they're not doing medical exams for life insurance. This is medically underwritten life insurance. They're not doing it in New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, and it's very limited in New York City. Exam 1, which is a Quest diagnostic company, they are now offering COVID-19 antibody testing. Consumers can go online to Quest Direct to be requested to get tested for that. Each test request is reviewed, and in order for testing is issued by a licensed physician. I happen to go to the Quest Diagnostic website just to see what the cost is, and it's about $120 to get the antibody testing. If anyone is interested in getting that, you can find a Quest Diagnostic lab near you. Next slide, please. Also, life insurance carriers are going to start offering and testing for the antibody for COVID-19. It's already a part of the blood test, or they're already drawing blood, so insurers will be able to add it to their routine panel, and this is expected to arrive later this month. Next slide, please. So last week when we were talking about some of the opportunities that are in the life insurance marketplace, and we were talking about panic buying, and you can still go to the grocery stores today and see that there's limited selection on toilet paper and paper towels and pasta and just different things, food, water. People are out there panic buying. And one of the things that actually made the list, and this is according to Forbes magazine, published in March of 2020, they also said that people are panic buying life insurance. And the nice thing about life insurance is that it's prevalent. You can get it. It's always there. The article noted that there's a 50% increase in online searches with a 29% increase in online applications What does that say to you and me as people in the industry? We need to get out there in front of people, whether it's through social media or get our web pages in front of people. Whatever you have, get in front of people, even if it is ordering leads, making phone calls, contacting our current clients. Get in front of the people, let them know what life insurance does and what it can do for them and their families. The other thing that consumers are wanting is no exam life insurance coverage. They're also wanting policies that are issued quickly. And consumers are looking for permanent coverage, not coverage that runs out, say, in 10, 15, 20, or 30 years, like a term policy. So a final expense life insurance policy, it can be sold online. It can also be sold over the phone. There are no medical exams. There are no medical records that need to be obtained, and the policies provide coverage quickly. Usually you can get a same-day approval for your clients. Worst case scenario, it may take 3 to 5 business days. That's worst case scenario, but normally you're looking at 1 to 2 days to get that coverage in place. And because the coverage gets issued so quickly and placed quickly, you do get paid quickly as well. And it is a whole life insurance policy, which means it is permanent coverage. The rate is locked in at their age, whatever it is for today, and that rate will never change for as long as they live. And as long as they pay the premiums, or somebody pays those premiums, they'll never outlive that coverage. Next slide, please. So we have our COVID-19 Final Expense Toolkit. And what it encompasses is that we do have fresh leads, whether you're looking for live transfer leads, telemarketed leads, direct mail, social media leads, and we subsidize your lead costs based on your production. And to talk about social media, when it comes to final expense, just like you, where you're probably in that phase here during the whole stay-at-home order, you can't see people, you're probably in that phase where you're trying to educate yourself and get as much information so that you're ready to, once they open the doors to doing business, you're ready to hit the ground running. So this week I've been doing some online tutorials on how to set up advertising on Facebook, where you don't have to pay some extra service to do your Facebook marketing for you. So stay tuned. I am going to be putting together a webinar for that here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that, and I'll show you how you can do your own Facebook marketing. You're going to be cutting a bunch of costs, and you'll be able to drive business to your agency. Also part of our final expense sales toolkit, we have sales scripts on how to present final expense over the phone, how to convert a lead into a sale, and how to set appointments. We have a bunch of competitive carriers available even during COVID-19, where you can still sell over the phone, you can still sell online. When you partner with URL, if you haven't already done so, you do have access to an online quoting tool. Last week, we just introduced to you a new consumer quote engine. It's a great opportunity for you to set up a landing page and stuff like that. It's about $25 a month. Also, when you work with us, you get links to online applications and tele-apps. And if you're doing other lines of business, whether it's Medicare or any other line of business, we do have compliant cross-selling letters and postcards. A lot of that has been updated, so you can contact me direct at 717-216-8041, or you can send me an email. Next slide, please. So during the months of April and May, we have been doing a lead subsidy stimulus. And we talked about when you participate in a lead program, whether you use one of our lead vendors or you can use a lead vendor of your choice. Normally, we give our Gemini partners $80 for every $1,000 of placed final expense annualized premium each month. If that makes sense, it's a mouthful. Standard partners get $50. We've increased that. So Gemini partners, you're getting $100 for every $1,000 of placed annualized premium each month for April and May. So I'm calculating those production numbers as we speak. And for our standard partners, we're going to bump that up to $75 for you. So if you did $5,000 in annualized final expense premium for the month of April, Gemini agents, you would be getting a $500 lead credit from us, and our standard agents would be getting a $375 lead credit from us. Next slide, please. Here's a list of carriers that you can sell over the phone, whether it's through an online link on their website where you have the client on the phone and you can take their information over the phone, or you can do a three-way phone call, whatever works for you and for your client. This is a list of the carriers that we have available for you that you can compliantly sell final expense over the phone. Next slide, please. So on Monday, this coming Monday, May 4th at 10 o'clock, we do our final expense monthly Monday webinar, and it's designed specifically for final expense agents or people who are looking to get into the final expense marketplace, and it is going to be our COVID-19 edition. We're going to go through the application process on how you can close a sale from converting it from a lead to a sale and how the application process works over the phone. So I highly recommend anybody that's interested in getting involved in final expense, or if you're doing final expense but you're kind of waiting out on the wings, waiting for coronavirus to go away, this will help you kind of get your feet under you and help you get started. And also on Tuesday, May 5th, Joey Fry is going to be doing a webinar on Celebrate Disability Insurance Awareness Month. Starts today, and it's going to be with Assurity, and that's at 11:30 Eastern on Tuesday, May 5th. And speaking of Joey, let me hand it over to Joey to talk to you about Disability Awareness Month.
All right, thank you, Matt. And just like Matt was saying, today is May 1st, which is the start of Disability Awareness Month. So with that being said, start off with a random fact. Every 7 seconds, a working age American experiences an illness, injury, or accident that puts him or her out of work for at least a month. So from the time of myself introducing myself and reading that, roughly 2 people have gotten injured, probably making some bacon or something like that. So when you're talking to clients about disability, I try to stay away from disability income. I like to refer to it as like a paycheck protection, because most people you have to say your most valuable asset is your paycheck. And if you see that stat there, a 45-year-old worker making $50,000 who suffers a permanent disability stands to lose about $1 million of future earnings. So, I mean, it's something most people will have insurance to cover their car, their home, their people buy insurance to cover their cell phone, but the most important that people should really consider is their paycheck. Next slide, please. A good way to sit down with a client and kind of figure out a good amount of insurance or disability benefit that they should consider is using this MUG plan. It stands for mortgage, utilities, and groceries. So what that means, you sit down with them and you kind of just map out with them, how much does your mortgage cost? How much do you pay for utilities a month? And what is your grocery cost for a month? And that can really map out a monthly benefit that you can at least start at and get a quote run and kind of show them a premium off of that. And we have that handout in the download section, so you can get that from our handouts. Next slide, please. We have a social media calendar that's also in the handouts. This gives you, since it is Disability Awareness Month, it gives you a post that you can put each day, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can just copy and paste or use their content and kind of just put it out each day, once a week, however often you kind of want to use it, but it's some very good content to at least get the word out to your clients. Next slide. We also have client checkup, policy checkup letters that you can use. I recommend using these if you have existing life insurance clients or annuity clients, whatever it may be, you send a kind of a follow-up and just talking about disability insurance, and if they're aware of the personal paycheck protection, you know, what would happen if you no longer are earning a paycheck. So they're also in the downloads that you can take a look at those and use those and mail those out accordingly. Next slide, please. I also put together their DI napkin notes. So what this is kind of saying is you can sit down in front of a client with just using a napkin. So if you're out at a restaurant, out at a bar, you know, you can really sell somebody on just these little plans here, these little notes. So this one, for example, is showing if you write down on a napkin job A and you show $100,000 a year and $0 a year. Job B, you show $98,000 a year and $60,000 a year. What that is showing is if job A is having no disability insurance. Job B is showing that it's roughly $2,000 a year for a disability plan. So it's saying if you had a disability plan, $2,000 a year, you're now making $98,000 a year, but if you were to become disabled, you would still get $60,000 a year, where opposed to job A, no coverage, you would be receiving no income. So I have about 10 of those on our website. You can reach out to me if you want me to send those to you, or you can find those on our website. Next slide, please. So carriers like Illinois Mutual and Assurity also have non-medical guidelines. So with everything that's going on today with not being able to really do face-to-face meetings, or we're slowly getting back into that, but for the time being, you can still do everything over the phone, electronically, and as you can see for Illinois Mutual and Assurity, they can get up to $3,000 monthly benefit without any medical exams. So that means that a doctor or anybody doesn't have to come visit them, or a paramedic company doesn't have to come out and take blood, labs, and all that. They can really kind of just go off of the medical questions on the application and see if they would qualify. So that is something that is available as electronic applications as well. Next slide, please. So for Disability Awareness Month, for the whole month of May, we are going to do a $25 bonus for apps between the premiums of $300 and just shy of $1,000. We'll have $50 for $1,000 to just shy of $2,000, and anything over $2,000 annual premium will give a $100 bonus. And now that's not only for disability, we are going to have that for life insurance as well. So as long as the application is submitted in the month of May and is paid by middle of June, we will pay that bonus. So that is all I have. Next slide will just show all of our contacts. So that is all I have for the Disability Awareness Month. So again, please look in the handout section for any of those things that I mentioned, or reach out to me via my phone number there or email, and I can assist in any way possible. So thank you there, and I will pass it off to Karen now in Medicare.
Thanks, Joey. I just have a couple of programming updates for the Medicare Offerings Department. If you have been listening to the webinars that my co-director Christy has been holding the past couple of weeks with some of our top agents, they've been really successful. A lot of really great information on how the agents were successful before COVID-19, how they're remaining busy, and how they feel like their sales tools can work now and in the future. We invite you to go and revisit those webinars if you need a refresher on them, or if you miss them, you can watch them anytime. You can advance to the next slide, please. And Christy is wrapping up the webinars on May 12th with a few of our other top agents. It's going to be a roundtable discussion. So we invite you to register for that, and that is on Tuesday, May 12th at 10 o'clock. If you can't make it, it will be available on demand, just like our other webinars have been. And that's really all I have for today. I will pass it back over to Jim if there are any questions in the webinar. But if you have any other questions for myself, Christy, or anybody else in the department, there are our numbers. Please feel free to give us a call, and we would be happy to help. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Deb and Thomas, there was a couple questions that came across that maybe we should read aloud for the group here. Scott had a question on the extra 60 days for COBRA election. Does that apply to both federal and mini COBRA?
My understanding, and I did answer him, my understanding is that it's only federal, but I do have a message into Prime Pay just for clarification. But my gut says it's only federal.
Okay, great. And then Joe had a question about, I think it kind of was from Thomas's point about them extending CE credits and those kind of things. And he was curious, Joe was curious on how the carriers are addressing license renewals. Will this affect any new business or renewal business?
Yeah, so I haven't received any correspondence from carriers on anything regarding that. My outline was strictly regarding the Pennsylvania Insurance Department.
Okay, great.
We are waiting for some clarification from the carriers too, because Pennsylvania also did put out with that notice the ability for an agent to get a temporary license, which has not happened in, 21 or so years. So there is more guidance coming on that as well. So follow up next week. We'll get you some answers and clarification on everything that was asked.
Yeah, I had spoke with a new agent in the last week or so who had just passed their exam, but was in the process of trying to get fingerprinted, and they couldn't go and get that done. So they were kind of in limbo of finishing the final step to get all that set up. So hopefully there's some of that worked out. I hadn't heard about the temporary license, so that's interesting.
The first parameter is that they had to take and pass their 24-hour pre-CE. So more than likely that has occurred as well. But again, I'll get you more information next week.
Great. Well, great questions, everybody. Thanks a lot for attending today. We'll be back here same time next Friday. And please, at the end of this webinar, there'll be a form. You can submit any questions you may have or from our website. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend and stay safe. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.